Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast which we disassemble a film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute segments and then examine it in obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco and Kyle.
Yes, sir.
According to Bloomberg Government, in 2019, the top 5 defense contractors to the United States federal government were, number 1, Lockheed Martin.
Of course.
Number 2, Boeing.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, General Dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Raytheon. And number 5, Northrop Grumman. Which would not surprise anybody. I mean, and even for people who are international listeners and stuff, I mean, Department of Defense, and these guys make stuff for people all over the world. Mm-hmm. You get that. But you think to yourself,
war is an international business.
Yeah, war is a business, as we know. Now we look at this and we think to ourselves, okay, so what does this all mean money-wise? So defense contract spending for the United States in the fiscal year of 2019 was $404 billion.
That's a lot of zeros.
That's a lot of zeros, right? $30 billion increase from the prior year, and overall spending for the last 4 or 5 years has increased to $122 billion. If you want to say to yourself, okay, of those top 5, so what is Lockheed Martin pulling down? The contracts that they had won, and this goes to 2017, was over $50 billion. Put a pin in this. Lockheed Martin's total revenue for that year was $53.8 billion. So they're a full-on government agency. Even if you go to number 5, Northrop Grumman, their contracts for the government was $11.2 billion. So here's the deal. If you wanted to have a seat in the Pentagon, and you were a supplier of certain accessories that are important to defense, you're not talking like a little bit of money.
Yeah,
we're talking tremendous amounts of money with a lot of zeros. If you were perhaps someone who thought highly of themselves in this area, you would certainly want to be there because you would like to make that money for your company. I'm thinking of Justin Hammer. That explains where we are coming up in this minute.
Yeah, if you think of Hammer as being in that number 5 spot, an $11 billion company, wow, you're still making $11 billion a year. But you look at that and go, but Stark, then is day number 1, would be making 5 times as much as you are.
Exactly.
That's a huge jump. I mean, even for $1 billion company, that's different leagues. That's big league ball playing up there.
I mean, everything with a B is big league.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
but is as much a difference between $1 million company, $1 billion company, a difference between a $10 billion company and a $50 billion company.
Yeah.
You can see why he can be a little cutthroat here in minute 52 of Iron Man 2 from 2010, directed by Jon Favreau. 52! Shout out to my DC hounds out there. So we're picking up where we left off, where it is Justin is still giving a tour of his facility to Ivan. Ivan is now doing some close examination of the Hammer suits, I guess we're calling them. And as he gets even closer, he yanks the head off of one of them, which causes Justin to sort of freak out a little bit, like, oh, he says, "Well, because God, Jesus Christ."
Well, he does, yeah.
And he goes, "Get somebody up here," which I think is once again very telling. He can't fix it.
Because he doesn't know. He just knows he just ripped the head off. Yeah. And I love that he tells Jack, and Jack just looks, but doesn't move. Yeah. He just looks like, where am I going to go and get somebody from? But now think about this. We did learn at the end of the last minute, each one of these suits, he said, what, 125.7 million?
Yeah.
Well, there's like $1 billion right there on the shop floor.
Yeah. He said, that was, for those of you who were like, but what was the end of the sentence? I forgot about that. So yeah, he says there are $125.7 million a pop.
Yeah. I mean,
then he just pulls out, that's like $125 million. So that's like $1 million piece of damage you just did to that, like
at least
because you saw all the wires are hanging down. But yeah, it's still weird. Like as he pulls out and you see all the wires hanging down, like where's there still room for a head in there?
Yeah, I thought that same thing. I was like, really that doesn't seem like it's a suit, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you look at it, it looks like a robot, much more than the Iron Man suit looks like you could tell it was a person. That's interesting. They never went that direction. They never, even the first Iron Man movie, no one ever said, "Is it a robot?" Like everybody just immediately knew it was a dude.
Right.
Like I look at these and think robot.
maybe they just didn't think. Maybe we're not in this universe. We're not thinking. The General Dynamic. Who is the company? I forget. That's making the robot dogs that actually work like a dog. We hadn't quite gotten there yet to like full fluid human movement.
Yeah,
maybe that's just something that wasn't in the cards yet.
It's funny because I'm actually playing Tom Clancy's The Division 2 right now, and they have those on the battlefield. So and they are pain. Those dogs, like dogs with turrets on their backs, they come running. We just call them horses, but when they come in, just so we can use shorthand when they come running in, because they come galloping in with turrets on their back, and they just run back and forth across the battlefields, and they are such a pain. I keep thinking, this is what happens when you kick those dogs too many times. Eventually, they get turrets and they come after you.
I mean, can you even? I mean, that just okay. Just a little brief segue here. The whole science and strategy of warfare changes completely. Mm-hmm. Between those and drones, what the heck?
Right? I mean, that's the thing. Is like on your side, you can deploy a drone that will fly around and shoot guys. And also, one of my favorites are seeker grenades, which you drop on the ground and they're just balls, and they just roll up to the guys and they jump in the air and explode.
Oh my god!
Ubisoft.
Come on.
Looking at future technology and thinking, how can we put this into a video game to have them kill other bad guys?
Well, anyway, no, they're not just. I don't think they're just in hammers, because I think as we can see, there's some issues here.
Yeah, exactly. So as Ivan is examining then the helmet, Justin's saying that's where the pilot goes. He's like, I'm having a tough time finding volunteers. It's like, yeah, because they know what happened to the last guy.
Yeah, the callback again to the video. Right, exactly.
Yeah, he's looking at his own butt right now because his spine got turned around. Okay. So then Ivan sort of like crudely puts the helmet back on, like clunk, like
right,
like he says, "I'll take care of that. Just leave it." And so then Ivan asks the big question, which is, what you want them do?
Yeah, that was pretty good. It's kind of, well, and I love Ivan's just cut to the chase, right?
Yeah.
His candor, like, what do you want these things to do?
Yeah, he's like, your software's garbage.
This is garbage.
Piece of crap, because I, as just a regular man, was able to yank the head off of one.
Right.
I think maybe that's sort of what he was showing, but also like see what the space was like in there. And so this is what do you want him to do, man? Yeah. And so Justin says, well, so this one, Justin like really gets on his he's like sharpening his blades, like he's really on his high horse here. He says, well, long term, I want them to put me in the Pentagon for the next 25 years. As we've seen, that's $50 billion a year. I want to make Iron Man look like an antique. I want to go to that Stark Expo. I want to take a dump in Tony Stark's front yard. You know what I'm talking about? Which is like, basically, once again, this is an engineer. You're a weapons designer. He's asking you for specifics, and you're giving him platitudes. It's sort of like, once again, very telling. So I was going, okay.
Well, and his reaction is really funny. Like, I can do that. I know. Well, because he understands. I mean, here's the funny thing about this is that third one, which is the crudest one, Ivan actually completely understands that, because that's what Ivan would like to do.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this gets back to his whole point is humiliating Tony Stark, unmasking Tony Stark as some sort of, fraud or whatever.
Yeah.
That actually is the one that is actually most appealing to him. In terms of Justin's first thing is, and I thought this was interesting, is I want to be in the Pentagon for 25 years. Okay, so obviously that's what he wants to do for the rest of his life. He wants to be obviously a main supplier to the Pentagon. That implies that he isn't currently.
Well, he's under review, I think is what he said.
Well, no. And this calls back to what we discussed is that right? That they had put after the whole, what I'd assume is the way this connects is after they had the demo of the suit that broke the guy's back.
Yeah.
That's when his stuff was put on hold. And especially after what happened, as we saw earlier in the movie with the congressional hearing, that's what happened as well. But he's really saying, like, I mean, I guess you still forget he isn't really a big player. He's still not a big player in defense, especially not in the U.S. federal government. Yeah. So I think this just feeds all into his. He is kind of a snake oil salesman, right? I mean, like we get more of the understanding of what role he's playing. This version of the character is playing in the MCU from what we've learned, and then and just the idea too. I think this is kind of funny. I want to make Iron Man look like an antique. Well, right now, from what we can see, you have the antiques. Like
he's, I was trying to think of a tech comparison of where he's at, and I couldn't think of one. But what I can think of in terms of automotive, he's the John DeLorean in this situation. I can make this amazing thing, and everybody goes, "Oh, amazing thing!" And it turns out, like, oh yeah, there's some fundamental problems that I haven't really been forthcoming about, and maybe aluminum cars are not the best idea.
Yeah, it was so great.
But okay, so basically, then Justin sort of just says, like, "Oh, hey, Fabius, I love this guy. This is our guy." But I'm going to take us on an aside. But before we get to that aside, I kind of want to talk a little bit about where do you think Ivan's head's at this point. Like, we know that he has been reactionary for like the last couple of minutes. Like, his plan was done. Like, his plan was, I showed that Tony Stark is weak, that everybody else can do this technology, and then the world will eat him alive when they know he's not a god. And then I go back to prison, and then I sit back and I read the paper and watch as he's death of 1,000 cuts. So now somebody else comes to him and says, "Oh, we can do so much more." So at this point, do you think he's already made the plan that we're going to see enacted, or do you think he's still like, I'll just play it as it lays?
Oh no, I think he's winging it. He's figuring it out as he goes along. Because he didn't know. Look, when he gets busted out of prison, he's just like, "Whoa, I'm getting busted out of prison by this twerp, right?" But this twerp got me out of prison, and he's got a ton of resources
and got the heat off me. So
he got the heat off me, and I got tons of money. And now he's walking in here and he's seeing this, and immediately, I think it's in that statement of, what do you want these to do? In that, can you just, if I can convince you to just leave me alone for a little while, I've got an entire sandbox now to play in, and I'm going to do what I want to do.
Okay, because so you think at this point he's making, like, he's doing what he needs to do to get access to what he needs to get access to do something, but to do something. He hasn't figured out what the something is yet.
No, I think what will happen is, as we will see, is the moment of, hey, you've got to produce the plan right now to appease Justin Hammer is to go ahead and show off at the expo. So that right now is all he knows. And obviously what's going to happen, a lot of this is going to happen behind the scenes in the rest of the movie, is how he decides then to implement that. And I would assume at some point he's got to show Justin what he's doing, or at least give a little bit of stuff to that. But I think he is literally he is inventing this as he goes along, because, I mean, before he walked in here, he had no idea what he was walking into. He had no idea what he was going to have. And now that he sees these suits, he's looking at the suit.
Would it be schematics? Like, he had no idea.
He had no idea. I mean, he's absolutely just looking at this right now. And you can already see this. He's in his head. He's like, well, you just have a little mini army here of articulated suits with gyros and servos. Yeah. Thank you. Servos. Mm-hmm. That's what I was trying to say. And I know your software is crap, so I can reprogram everything. Hey, this will be a fun couple of weeks, or whatever it ends up being, right?
It's about true. Yeah, and speaking of which, that's a good point to pivot on, because we're doing some time jumping here. Now, I use marvelcinematicuniverse.fandom.com. They have a exhaustively researched Marvel Universe timeline. And so basically, I've taken them as the authority. And I have a little quibble with them. So on this, they say that the day Ivan broken out is this same day. They say that this is later that same day. Like, when Justin breaks him out, it's the morning, and this is the evening. I don't think so, and I don't know exactly why they consider that way. I would think that this is at least the next day, if not a day, if not 2 days later, because they had to fly back from Monaco.
Oh yeah, no, they had to fly back to Monaco.
So it's at least like a 14-hour. What we tracked it at one point, 14-hour flight.
Yeah, on the Gulf.
Even to New York. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, Tony had to go even farther, but. I don't know where I couldn't find exactly why they think that way, but
they probably just think, this is just because Justin's like eager, like, hey, we got to get started.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not going to waste any time or anything. He's just spent all this money. He wants to
but he has to get him some new clothes.
Yeah, they were waiting for him. They were waiting for him. No, maybe not. They were waiting for him when he landed.
Because Justin is also in a new suit.
Yeah, so no, it definitely implies a next day. I would say it implies a next day then, yeah.
So anyways, but what we do know is from this point, we are jumping forward in time. So this actually is like 5 days later. So when the next shot is of Tony's house, and we see the line of cars of people wanting to get in, and that is May 29th, 2010. This is 6 days after Monaco. And so then obviously we're on the opposite coast as well. So as we catch up with Tony, we see that that rash is not looking good.
So wait, the rash is not looking good. Can I also just say though how much I love the shot of that aerial shot of the house at night?
Oh yeah.
Okay, again, geography.
That's right, and all fabricated.
It's all fabricated.
Nothing there is real.
But can I tell you, I just love so much that they took the time to animate it all. The geography is exactly, if you stop and zoom in,
yeah,
everything we're about to see over the next several minutes of this movie, you can literally point to it on this shot. And I love the fact that you see the big line of cars on their way to the house. And I just think that's so great.
And it's good storytelling, because it's like, this is a party.
Yes.
Like, when you see that line of cars going up there, you're like, oh yeah, okay, so this is the party that we had been hearing about. So we see then the palladium concentration, which he's using a smart window, kind of smart mirror thing on the glass, which I assume every piece of glass in his house can probably be used this way. We don't see any projectors, so I assume that he has the Stark technology is sort of that you can make a pane of glass into a screen, just kind of like we see like his phone is a sheet of glass.
They're clear. They're transparent LEDs or LCDs.
Yeah. Because otherwise it's not projecting from anywhere. It's actually doing it on the glass itself, which seems like it'd be like this seems really expensive. Like, I mean, I know Tony Stark is a multimillionaire, but like to have every like what if you want to walk to the next window and look over, would it follow you?
Okay, wait, it's funny you say this, because at the time we're recording this, I just watched a video from one of the YouTube channels that talks about tech stuff, and this came up in my feed the other day, where somebody found, and they ordered one from a Chinese supplier, a transparent TV.
Oh,
it's a transparent, it's like a 50-inch, I think it was 50-inch 1080p transparent television. And it was incredible. I mean, basically the wiring and everything is so small that you can actually see through it, and it's just the glass without the lighting and stuff. It's not edge lit lighting and stuff. It's just done within the glass.
Yeah,
it was $7,000. So yeah, even now, and this is a thing. I mean, you could actually put these all around your house right now. You would spend a lot of money. Yeah.
True. So then on the display then around him, we see the palladium concentration. And it looks like it's been tracking it too, because this is over 7 days. So his palladium concentration is now at 89%.
That seems bad.
That seems bad. That is a higher number than the 24 that we had seen that first showed up at the Stark Expo.
And he's got, and I mean, I'll tell you, he's got just a furrowed brow of horror. That's the expression Tony's got.
Yeah,
I mean, he's really looking at this like, wow, I'm coming to the end, and there's nothing I can do to stop it.
And at that point is when Natalie Rushman comes in. So Scarlett Johansson makes her triumphant return to the film. She's been gone for far too long.
She was processing papers. Come on.
So she comes in and says, do you know which watch you'd like to wear tonight, Mr. Stark? And as she walks in, if you see it right on the side, I can't believe they just put this on screen, but there's Tony's conch. It's just sitting right there. I mean, like his conch is out where anybody can see it. And look at the size of that conch. Yes. I mean, Tony Stark's conch is huge.
Okay. I was going to say. We're talking about shells, everyone.
Yeah. He has a gigantic seashell sitting next to the door as they walk in.
But okay, and a little bit about the set design here. So this is the only time we see his bedroom, right?
Yeah, we'll see it in Iron Man 3, but this is the only time we saw it in Iron Man 1, but it didn't look like this.
Right.
So I think he redesigned or moved or whatever, because this is like when the reporter first wakes up with him. It's in this. Assumedly
that's
in this
right.
room,
That's right.
Or
yes.
Unless Tony Stark has a second bedroom.
A second bedroom, which let's not
possible.
Okay. But this is it's beautiful.
We've not seen that wall essentially, like the wood panel. Like this is a swinging 60s bachelor pad. Let's be faithful.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And wood, and there's a turntable in there somewhere.
Oh, there's a turntable, and I mean, look, you got the beautiful, the screen that he's looking at is basically a complete floor to ceiling window. I mean, the whole wall, one wall is just nothing but glass. but you've got the dark woods, you've got the boxy black leather chair, minimalist stuff. And like you said, like on the one area there as she walks in, yeah, there's a big honking conch shell. Like what?
Yeah.
What is that? Even the lamp.
It is a very West Coast thing.
Oh, it's a West Coast thing. But even the lamp is like a lamp that looks like it's a concrete lamp, and it's got like rocks or something embedded in it, and it's just and a boxy like shade and stuff.
Yeah.
No, this is a total 60s retro manly bedroom.
Right. Yeah. So then Tony's basically in regards to the watch, not his conch. He says, "I'll give them a look. I should cancel the party." Like he goes right to like instantly like I cancel the party, and then Natalie says, "Probably," and then just that's where the minute ends. But it's just like it's such a great like delivery because it's just like so matter of fact about probably.
Okay, no, but wait. But the thing that sets this up is, and we were going to talk about this as best we can.
Yeah.
The character here, as she walks in, she is wearing a form-fitting dress, a party dress.
Hair done immaculately. Her
hair done is amazing. Yes,
like they made Scarlett look gorgeous.
No, she walks in. This is just immaculate, and like I said, you get this whole thing. But when he says this, I should cancel the party. We cut to a shot where her backside is facing him. Mm-hmm. There is the reflection of her in the unbelievably polished wood wall.
Yeah.
And she is about to make him a martini. Mm-hmm. So you have that.
Like she's only been on the job for a week and she already knows exactly.
Well, but I have so many questions about the inappropriateness of what is happening here now, right? Yes. Like, I mean, let's not, and it's intentional. Like, this is her, again, remember, we kind of know who she is here. This is her role. Her role is to confound and confuse. And she is using all of her faculties to do this, especially when we know what we know about Tony Stark. But I think it is so funny. Like, he sees this, right? You're seeing what Tony sees, and Tony's just like, "Whoa, wow," right? And he's like, "I should probably cancel the party." And she's like, "Yeah, probably," and just going back to making the martini. Jeez. Oh, Tony, you're so predictable.
Well, we always predict on Tony Stark. So if you'd like to tell us more about Tony Stark's conch, you can do so over on Facebook. That's right. We have our own Facebook group dedicated for just these kind of discussions. You can find it at facebook.com/groups/the next reel. It's called the Marvel Movie Minute and Next Reel Film Podcast Executive Lounge. So you can show up and talk about all the conchs you want. Jeez, you gotta ask for membership because we're trying to keep out the bots and the weirdos.
But not the conchs. Conchs are
all
welcome.
All conchs are welcome in the lounge. Because you can talk out with your conch out in the executive lounge. And this is where we need to have a woman as a guest on this thing.
Yeah, we're no
conversations
good.
To ourselves. We are terrible. Tell us how terrible we are over at the Marvel Movie Minute Next Reel Film Podcast Executive Lounge. Making Facebook 1% better.
0.5%.
So we'll get into the inappropriate conversation between a boss and his employee as we get into minute 53. You do not want to miss it. Enough said.
Bye. Wow, you went all in on the conch.
I went all in on the conch.